Good morning, good morning, good morning. Another episode of Talk Visual 305. I am coming to you live from our podcast studio here in Homestead. I wanted to just say good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and say, what's up, Julio?
What's going on, man?
What's
We've got a special
going
guest.
on?
We got a guest in the building today. I hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. I definitely had a great time. Good time to spend with family and friends. So yeah, man, we're gonna bring to you today special guest, good friend of ours, Rotarian as well, Benny Robina, the owner of Benny's Truck and Auto right here in our community, who's been giving excellent service for a very long time. And I don't know if you guys have seen the reviews, but
I've seen the reviews.
I mean, it's a list of reviews.
It goes on. A lot of good stuff, man.
So let's give it up for Big Benny in the house, man.
Thank you. So welcome, Benny. Welcome to our podcast, man. We just wanted to kind of bring our local leaders into our space for a minute and just kind of talk about, something inspirational for the next generations coming up, to see what we can do to kind of leave some tips and tricks for them. To kind of say, you know what, we're here, we're living Homestead, we're local, and we're doing it. So welcome, man.
Thank you very much.
Good. So, Mr. Benny, tell us about yourself, man. Who are you? Let the audience know, who are you,
My name is Benny Robina. I've lived in Homestead since I was 4 years old. Grew up here, went to school here. Basically, all my life I've been in Homestead.
That's right, Homesteadian.
And I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. Yeah, it's growing, but everywhere is growing. So you just gotta, growth is good, and you just gotta roll with it.
That's it, grow with the pains.
Yeah.
It's crazy that Benny and I went to elementary school together, junior high school together, high school together. And it's one of those things where you know each other in elementary and junior high, then you disconnect and you don't see each other for 15, 20 years, and then you reconnect and it's like, oh, yeah, man, what's going on?
You pick up right where you left off.
Right?
And it's beautiful to see the success that Benny has had in his life, man. And Benny moves quietly.
Right.
He moves quietly, strategically. He's not a loud person. He's just a hustler, always trying to get ahead in life and try to better his family. And he's done exactly that in his life. His family lives an amazing. They don't have to worry about buying the steak, whenever they want to buy steak.
Right.
So congrats to Benny on all your success, man.
Thank
Yes,
you.
man. We welcome you, man. So tell us, Benny, who is Benny, man? What do you do? And, tell us a little about yourself, your business, and, whatever you want to touch on.
I'm mainly a diesel mechanic, but we work on all types of cars. We try to help people with problems they have and get them going again, get them rolling and get them to work and get them to school.
Right.
Get them to, visit their parents, wherever they need a vehicle for.
Awesome.
We're here to help. That's the way we look at it. We don't look at it as we're trying to make a buck, fixing a car. We're trying to help a person get rolling again, because can't do anything in Homestead without a car.
That's right.
That's true. So tell me, man, why did you choose I would assume the mechanic field compared to any other field you could have possibly went into?
I've always liked cars since I was small, so I was naturally attracted to it. And I just went with it, and never gave up.
Very good.
I think Benny knew that AI was coming, and he goes, this might be one of the only things that it can't take away.
You'd be surprised. Right? They'll probably come up with a way to do it.
Some of those robots do, tweaking on an engine, but no, they don't have the human touch. See, you have that personal human touch, and your honesty to things, hey, you may not always like the answer, but he's going to tell you the truth. You know what I mean? It's like, shit, man, you need a whole new engine. Hey, you need a whole new engine. That's just what it is.
Some of the things that are happening in this economy, right, with the evolution of AI, there are going to be so many jobs that go away, right? And then now it's like people can start to think, man, if I were an electrician,
right,
if I were a plumber, if you had those trade jobs, now it's like it's in a safe space.
Right.
So Benny is in an industry where, yes, AI is going to do a lot, to make those efficiencies.
Right.
But there's still a need for mechanics to understand what's going on. And Benny can talk a little bit more about how AI or, the automation is going to affect businesses and employees, but as an owner of the business, where do you see the mechanic industry going?
It's eventually gonna pretty much be completely computerized, but a lot of it is hardware, and you need a human to actually replace broken hardware pieces.
Right.
A lot can be fixed with software flashes and updates, but there's still entire parts that are gonna get they're gonna burn up. They're gonna go bad.
All right, so before we get too far into that, let's back up a little bit and ask. You went to college, Broward Community College.
Correct.
You went and you had the goal of being a mechanic for a service dealer. Maybe you had the goal of working at a Toyota service dealer, Chevy, whatever dealer that might have been. And you said, maybe, I'm gonna make a living doing this. So help us understand your transition from coming out of college, getting that degree, and then navigating towards your own business.
Sure. I went to BCC for the General Motors ASEP program, which basically you get an Associate of Science. It's half college classes, half automotive. When you're done there, you can technically, basically, you should be able to have the skills to run a dealership, not just be a mechanic. They don't teach you just to turn wrenches. They teach you how to talk to customers, math, business, which when I was young, I thought that was a total waste of my time. And I use those courses now more than I use wrenching on cars.
Right.
Which is in foresight, it was the best thing that they forced us to do.
Right.
I went to work at Blake Chevy, worked there for like 15 years till the owner sold the company. And I was at a crossroads where I was like, I could start all over somewhere else, or I could do it for myself. Right. I'm already doing it for somebody else and making them enough money to pay me and pay me well. So I might as well try it myself, and which is what I did, and here's where I'm at.
That's it. Never look back. Huh?
Never look back.
So you were there, let's say, 2 or 3 years at the job, and then you decided.
No. I worked for Pete Blake, which was a great boss.
Right.
From '97 to like 2006 or 7.
Okay.
So he sold. I mean, I was comfortable there. I made plenty of money.
Right.
Okay.
But when they closed, I was like, I'm gonna try my own thing.
And you understood the entire business, meaning you understood top to bottom, parts, customer service, everything that dealt with, servicing cars.
Pretty much, yes. We had a great crew there, and we all learned from each other.
Right.
Awesome.
I would assume that, with great leadership, you have almost a great environment, you know what I mean? Where the person enjoyed coming to work. That's always been the tough nut, right? Because so many emotions and feelings and things, and then the customers experience. Some person says, you know what, I don't want to deal with the front end of things. I don't like dealing with the front. You guys go out there and help and talk to the customers. Just give me the wrench and let me go in the back and just deal with the machine. I mean, but it seemed like you had a healthy balance of both.
You need all of the above. You need to know how to, fix the car is the most important thing, but you have to listen to the customer. When they're there with their car broken, it's the most stressful point of their day, their week, their month. They had plans, and none of their plans involved being broken down.
Right.
They're stressed out. They're trying to figure out how to get to work, how to get their kids to school, how to finish the week. And you got to understand that, and be compassionate and work with them with it. It's not just, oh, this is what it is, or go away. You gotta help them out there. We're all humans.
Right. See, and a lot of times the youngsters today, they don't see the struggles or the tools and the tips that they needed along the way. They only see the result of it.
Right.
So they don't understand that it took so much of you to have empathy for that customer in the beginning versus you being I would say knucklehead or something and telling the customer all the the raw way of saying something instead of saying it in more of a compassionate way. You get your point across pointing them at this way versus this way. The same point gets across. One is threatening, one is welcoming, and it showed that you have that in you, and that's one of the cool things about Benny. That when I've learned, I went to his shop and he serviced my cars a couple of times and loved every minute of it, man. And most important, I love hanging out with the family. They're the real champs of the business.
It's a total family atmosphere there.
Yes.
Most of my guys have been with me, at least 7-8 years.
Right, and that's a testimony to great leadership, man.
So Benny, when you first started, it was a one-man shop yourself.
Yes.
And then at some point you say, hey, I'm getting a little too busy. I need some help here.
On a scale.
And then
that's
when the leadership skills start to develop, because now you've got to coach and train another person, right? And do these people come already trained, or do you kind of
Some have, some do. Some didn't, so we kind of worked with it, and if they clicked and fit in, we're still here together.
Right.
Yeah, because sometimes you could be great at something, but a terrible coach.
Right.
And I had to learn
Right.
how to be a better leader and a better instructor, because sometimes people have patience
Right.
and others don't have patience. So having to go through that learning curve, I'm sure you went through some trials and figuring out how to get
There's some
people to
people
produce.
that don't want to learn, and I've learned myself that in life, if you're telling me I'm wrong on something, I'm not gonna sit there and argue. I want to hear why you think I'm wrong.
Right.
That's the most important thing. I want to hear it. You may be incorrect about it, but I want to know your perspective of why something's wrong. So maybe I am, and that way, that's the only way I can fix it.
Right.
You can't just close your eyes and go, no, it's only this way.
Right.
And that applies to anything in life.
That's true.
I think Benny's story is almost like a page out of a book, right? This gentleman, he went to school, he had a goal, he got a job, but he had another vision of having something greater in life. So he worked that job, to pay his bills, but he always had the intent that one day I'm going to get out of here and start my own thing, and it's going to blow up to be something huge with a ton of great success stories and a ton of great reviews, which has happened.
Right.
To those younger people that might be thinking about getting into the industry, what would you say is their biggest challenge?
Their biggest challenge is getting their foot in the door and learning, getting good experience.
Right.
So getting their foot in the door, meaning get the job first, learn
Get
the
the
business.
job, because a lot of these places, they don't want to give these young kids a chance. And they're never going to get experience unless they start. You gotta let them.
Sweep
They're
the
gonna
floor,
fail.
yeah, right.
They're gonna make mistakes, but that's the only way to learn.
Right. And a lot of times I've seen too coming in, this generation here is, they're taking their licks regarding work ethics, right? Coming in and what are they willing to? I would have worked for free.
Right, to learn.
I've always been groomed to say, hey, just get your foot in the door. I will sweep the floors if I need to. If that's the passion I'm after, I will sweep the floor. I will do it for free, just to get my foot in the door, so I can be there. Hey, would you like me to do that? Would you like me? Can you show me how to? I will give that service for free in order for me to, if needed. But if you get your foot in the door, just get in. Do anything in that business that helps you along the way. And I think a lot of the kids today may be reluctant based on social media to wanting to do that.
Absolutely, and they need to realize that knowledge is something that's yours. Nobody can ever take it. You can use it. You can gain knowledge on something and put it away, and do something else for the next 15 years, and come back and draw back on that knowledge and use it whenever you need it. You're never gonna waste your time or lose it.
Right.
If you're actually gonna learn something,
Right.
It's not wasted time.
Lesson,
it's not a
lesson
loss.
learned, right? Lesson learned. So,
Greatest king in the Bible, King Solomon.
that's right.
He had all the knowledge,
Right.
and that's what God blessed him with. So if there was ever a moment where you say, hey, do you want X amount of millions of dollars, or would you rather have knowledge? I'd take the knowledge.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because you can navigate, and that's something that Benny says. You can never, nobody can ever take that away from you.
Right.
So Benny, you're saying there are some people out there thinking about getting into the auto industry and maybe opening up their own shop. It's always a better path to maybe have a job first, or can they directly go into opening shop and kind of, making their mistakes along the way?
You can do it either way.
Yeah?
Either way is possible. As long as you're determined and you got your mindset, anything in life you can make it work.
All right. So if the people wanted to get a shop, what would they typically need to invest? Like, let's say, for example, we back up in time and you had your one man shop. It's just you. The amount of money that you've got to invest for a lift or
Right.
any of the things that you want to do, because I think you can specialize in certain things too.
Correct.
Sometimes you go down here, you just see alternators or balancing or whatever that is.
Transmission, just that.
Where do you see the greatest return on investment in the industry?
Probably your tools, because they're always going to make you money.
Right.
As long as you don't lose them or they don't get stolen, once you put that money in, they'll pay back themselves 100-fold as long as you work them.
All right. And I want to get rid of this misconception that might be out there. I don't know if it's true or not, but anytime people think about, oh, I've got to take my car and I only take it to the dealer, right? There's always that notion that you're you're overpaying because you're taking the car to the dealer. And the dealers sometimes make their parts specific, so you have to do that.
Right.
But in your case, like you just said, you took your car
Yeah.
to Benny's shop and boom, in and out. It's happened to me as well. I've taken my Chevy Trail Boss to his shop and boom, in and out. So what's the difference of taking your car or truck to the dealer versus your shop?
There is no difference.
Zero.
No?
For all of you out there is no difference. The only difference might be the amount of money that comes out of your
There is a
pocket.
difference.
That, and we're gonna, not just us. A smaller shop is gonna give you more personalized service. You're not a number. You're a customer to them. So you're gonna be more important, in my opinion.
Now that's a great tip.
You know what I mean? Because there's always people out there that think, oh no, I'm gonna take it to the dealer because they're gonna give me the best oil or the best service or the only parts that fit on my truck. But no, you go to Benny's shop, he's got all the same stuff there.
He plugs that in. I mean, if your car reads a code, you could plug that up and erase that code. You go to the dealership first. You got to get an appointment. Then you got to do all of this. If they don't have a loaner car, if it's somewhere else, he plug it in. Boop, erase the code. Your car is back to business as usual, and tells you right on the spot. Here's what the problem is.
It's a service oriented business, right?
Family service.
Family service. You go to the dealer sometimes and you pull up and the person comes to your car, hey, what are we gonna do for you today? I need an oil change. Okay, oil change. You're gonna rotate your tires. Okay, here, go have a seat inside. You're there for 4 hours. 4 hours waiting, and you're lucky if you get it in 4 hours. You go to Benny's shop, hey, what are you gonna do today? We're gonna take care of you. You're out of there. Benny can talk about how quick he can be out of there, right? Because I don't want to say something, Benny be like, it could be a busy day.
It depends on the workload, but usually, if you set up a previous appointment, we'll get you in and out of there.
That's right, man. And a lot of time you got to be realistic too. I mean, sometimes you go in there and you jump in. Sometimes Benny wants to help everybody all at once, right? And that's a great thing. And the negative is sometimes persons they're trying for you to move a mountain. You come in there with your engine blown and you're trying to get out there in 30 minutes and shit. So you have to understand, these are the things that only an experienced person that has done it and tweaked it. It's kind of like good food. You're going to travel for good food because you trust the cook. So sometimes you go into places where you would never suspect a location to be. Benny's not on US 1, but he's in a place where you pick up the phone and call him, and he say, come point here, go here, and this is where our shop is. Oh, I didn't even know you guys were there. I learned about Benny through the Rotary.
Right.
And once I start talking to Benny and realize, oh, you have a shop. I said, oh, I'm redirecting my services to him because once he's solved a problem that I've had, I was and I'm giving you your flowers now, Benny. I want to say thank you for what you have done for my family and being able to get our vehicles up and running. And I've referred you to everyone. And also I see you now on social media. So that's right in my wheelhouse. I keep copying and pasting whatever that person, whoever it is out there, is doing a great job, by the way, of making sure your business is relevant without you speaking. You don't need to say anything. Your service is in the pudding.
Thank you.
So what else we got?
What I love best about, and to give you an example, let's say we live such busy lives, right? If I need a haircut, I want to go to a barber shop where it doesn't need to be a specific barber. I mean, I don't got that much hair.
Shower.
I just need, I need a quick fade. And you want to go to a barber shop where you know that there's going to be somebody there, you can get in and out because we're busy, right? So shout out to Miami Clippers, Albert, where you can go to his shop and you can get a haircut, right?
Quick.
The same thing with Benny's auto shop. You go there, you have some sort of issue with your car, you know that you're going to get service the minute you get there. There's going to be somebody that's going to attend to you. So it's so relieving knowing that there's that type of business in Homestead where that kind of service is provided, and you can feel relaxed knowing that it's in good hands and you're going to get service very, very quickly.
So Benny, tell me, where is your shop located for our audience out there? Because again, everyone that's watching this podcast have a car of some kind.
It is in 30 Northwest 12th Street in Florida City. If you're going south on Chrome Avenue, you make a right before you get to the Capri is 12th Street, and I'm right there on the right-hand side.
Bam. Simple as that, guys. Just so you all know, location, being able to have a person that you can pick up the phone, he tells you, hey, here, I got a spot available. You set your appointment, drop it off, or you just hang out for a few minutes. You're in and out. Preferably, drop it and go about your day. so that he can take care of you. So Benny, what else is going on, man? How's the family?
The family is doing great. Kids are, it's summertime.
Yeah.
The 2 older boys are there helping us at the shop.
I saw
this
that.
summer. So far, life is good,
Any fishing involved?
Any chance I can get.
He loves fishing, man.
That's my getaway.
You know, one of the perks I've gotten from Benny, he told me, man, you from Eleuthera? I was down there. I'm like, holy moly, because Eleuthera's not, it's off the beaten path of places. And not only he was in my hometown, he was in my settlement, where the harbor, right down, like a minute away from the house. And he says, yeah, I spent Davis Harbor. Yeah. I spent some time down there. I'm like, holy, what a target right there, right on target. Boom, So Benny, I mean, I'm sure your experience in the Bahamas was one of the.
It's great. It's
Benny's an honorary Bahamian, buddy.
It's my second home.
Awesome, man.
And I know we can all relate to this, that behind every successful man, there's always that woman.
That's
and
right.
Damaris has been there for you. And she's been, I see you guys fishing and she's holding, looks like a shark next to her.
Yeah, usually she's close by wherever I'm at.
That's it, buddy.
That's awesome, man. And I know she plays a big role also in making sure that everything is running correctly at the shop. That all those payroll taxes are
all
done.
of that. If not at the shop, she's making sure everything is running correctly in life, in my life, so that I can concentrate on everything running correctly at the shop.
The funniest thing is when you go to the shop and you sit there with the ladies. They're funny as all day long. I'm sitting there and I don't want to hear nothing else.
They keep you entertained.
It takes your mind away from your daily life because you're in a different environment. Listening to them go at each other or have a moment of conversation, it is funny.
Is that Monica there?
Monica's my right hand woman there.
They are funny, man. I enjoy going to your shop. If it's not for nothing else, it just gives me a little R&R, disconnection from my space to be in that moment. Just like when I go to the chiropractor or get your dent, I just go there and later. I say, bro, I don't have to think about anything. I can get my mind reset. Sometimes it's just a good mind reset, man. But thank you, Benny. We really appreciate the things you're doing in the community and the fact that you decided to open a business in Homestead. A lot of persons would have taken their business elsewhere. You're kind of circulating the money in the community as well. I mean, obviously, you're giving a great service. You're doing a great service for the community. And I'm sure one day, soon you will be recognized amongst the greats about people that did
Hall of Fame.
Right.
Hall of Fame. I did want to touch on that because all of us have businesses here in the Homestead area. Benny is just outside of Homestead in Florida City, and that's for a reason, right? Because Benny and I have long had a conversation about doing business in Homestead.
Right.
And Benny is so afraid of doing business in Homestead because of all of the horror stories that he has heard about how Homestead doesn't really help small business. They give you so many obstacles to overcome when all you want to do is open up a shop and provide a service to the community. Benny's in a position where he can open another shop, right? And I've been looking for some properties for him, and he goes, you know what? I'd like property just anywhere outside of the municipality of Homestead.
Unincorporated.
And here I am trying to promote Homestead.
The sad part is, it's my hometown. There's nowhere else I would rather be.
Right.
But they're making it hard.
Right.
Extremely hard. I mean, Benny and I have gone through some real issues where we've got a property that we'd like to purchase it and get his shop open, and there's mechanic shops right next door, right down the block, and then you get to the city of Homestead, they go, oh no, you can't do that here.
What's the problem?
Because of the zoning and the way they operate and the way they have their zoning code, which should be overhauled. It should have been overhauled a long time ago, and I think that is what's keeping the city of Homestead from growing, because we understand that small business is the engine of any city.
Well said.
I mean, we're in downtown and we see that this place right here within these 2 or 3 blocks, it needs help.
Right.
And part of what this show is about is getting some attention to downtown, because we do live in a beautiful place, and downtown is beautiful and it's historic and it could be amazing. It could be one of the best cities in Florida. But we've got to get the city of Homestead, the building department, we've got to get them to make some changes to make things easier for people, because people like Benny that want to invest in Homestead should not be thinking, get me anywhere except Homestead.
Right.
As much, and it's where I really want to be, but
You know what I mean? So hopefully this starts to set an example, and we can start letting the city of Homestead know that people are hurting out here, and they really want to do business with the city of Homestead, but we've got to make some small changes so they can be incentivized to come here.
Right. I would hope that for those who out there that's listening, we have an opportunity to have a local business owner keep his business local. And to keep his business local, it requires some changes and to see where it can align for both parties. So please take that opportunity that, hey, there's a lot of businesses coming to Homestead and are opening, but there's also some that's been here for a while. You got to take care of your own too that's been here for many years, not just the newcomers. The newcomers are great, we welcome them, but under the same token, there are things that needs to be done, part of the old codes that needs to be modernized to say, hey, we welcome you. We see an opportunity, why not? Why not you? And why not make that adjustment to make things happen? It only seems some things are just as simple as that, you know? So please, if you're listening out there, please consider what needs to be adjusted.
So there you go, Benny's Truck and Auto. Benny, you specialize not only in trucks, right, but you do big trucks as well.
We do from big trucks to regular cars, gasoline and diesel.
Big trucks are regular cars, gasoline and diesel. You can look them up on Yelp, Google reviews. You're going to be amazed at all of the great reviews that they've got. Don't be afraid to contact them. Take your car over there. Thank you so much, Benny, for the time you've given us today.
Thank you guys for having me as your guest.
Continued success to you and your family.
Good,
all the best, and all the best to your kids.
And he's also a Rotarian guy, so he's always giving back to the community as well, too. So we love what we do in the community. So thank you guys for being a part of our podcast. And stay tuned for the next episode. We're coming back soon with some heavy hitters as well. Benny, we appreciate you, sir. Thank you for liking and subscribing as well.